later.
Yes, maybe they are going to meet later. Well, we are ready to start, and I'm going to share with you a presentation that I prepared for all of you. Oh my goodness, what happened? Well, I made some changes. So this is the first meeting, El Castillo School in Barrancabermeja, Colombia. My school is El Castillo. In English is the castle. That's what Castillo means in English, castle.
Castle, okay.
And Brighton in England, there is
me.
Linda, who is the representative from Brighton, and Evan from Lausanne. That's correct, Evan?
Change my...
No, Lausanne.
Yes, Lausanne is correct the spelling?
Yes.
Okay.
Lausanne, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I would like to introduce you my hometown, that is Barrancabermeja. As you know, Barrancabermeja is a small town in Colombia, and it's also it has the biggest oil refinery in the country. So our economy depends on the oil industry. And here there is a picture from the most representative place in our hometown. This is a swamp. Well, it's not a lake, it's a swamp. It's really contaminated, but well, that's the circumstances. And here in the center of the swamp, we have a monument that is called the Oil Crest. And in the right side of the picture, we have a park and the monument with the name of our city, Barrancabermeja. Now I'm going to introduce you my student. Now, please, my dear students, you can turn off your cameras. Please turn off your cameras. And only Sergio, where is Sergio? Sergio, okay. I'm going to introduce you, my dear student, Sergio Porras. Sergio.
Okay. Hello, Mrs. Linda Cowell and Mr. Evan Pasquini. We are students at El Castillo School in Barrancabermeja, Colombia. For us, it's a pleasure you give us part of your time. And for this,
no problem.
We want to thank. Here is a video we want to show you.
Sergio, I decided to change that part, and we are going to start with the questions. First with the questions, and at the end, we are going to share the video, Sergio. Okay?
Okay.
So, can you introduce your classmates who are going to ask the questions? I think it's Edward, no? It's Edward, the first one. Edward?
Well, my name is Edward. Hi, nice to meet you, Evan. Well, as you know, the role of government is to protect the well-being of its people most crucially and visible during emergencies, such as the recent outbreak of the coronavirus. So my question is for you, how your government have sustained the economic blow of coronavirus?
Is he talking to me?
Yes, Linda.
Is it the question for me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Well, at the moment, okay, in England, the moment is that the government have shut down all businesses except for supermarkets and chemists and main essentials. But the companies that have closed down, the government is going to pay 80% of their wages until August. When July comes, they are expecting the companies to pay a percentage back to the government. So that helps people that are not able to work.
Mm-hmm.
And as well, unfortunately, some of the business have closed down. So there is a big, high amount of people that have lost their jobs because the companies have not managed to survive so far.
Well, it's the same situation in Colombia. We are living the same situation here.
Yes.
Quite similar.
Yes.
Well, the conditions are worse because our economy is not so wealthy like England's economy, but
Yeah.
it's almost the same situation.
But we all know that things are going to go up. It's going to be expensive once this is all over. The economy will need to take the money back from somewhere. So
Well, the same question for Evan.
So at the moment, it's since 2 weeks ago that some shops and companies are allowed to reopen again, but with strict restrictions. So as you may see in television, we have to wear masks and also to always keep distance. Normally it's a distance of 2 meters. And since Monday, some schools have reopened. They have closed in mid-March. I think the 15th of March, 15th of March. And so they've closed the schools, and now some students are allowed to go back at school, but only the half of the class is allowed to go at the same moment. So it's a bit complicated because some teachers have to struggle between a class, a virtual class, and a physical class. For the government, it's since February that we have some help from the state. Probably you know in Switzerland it's a federal government, so the country is not always giving rules to the inhabitants, but they are the region are giving the rules. But in this complicated moment, that's the country that is giving the rules. So now it's the rule of the country to give some loans, and they have decided to give, not to give, but to make free interest loans for some companies. But the situation is quite dangerous because small companies such as hairdresser, bars, restaurants are closing because nowadays, so they are allowed to reopen again, always with the restriction with this 2 meter distance. And so as a consequence, some can't reopen for that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
The next is Mateo, please.
Really, I'm very nervous. So my questions are for Mrs. Linda. I know that you are a nurse, and I want to know 2 things. So I have 2 questions for you. The first question is, how is it to work in a hospital having a high risk of being infected by the virus?
Liz, can you explain? I couldn't understand his accent.
Mateo, could you repeat?
Can you repeat
the question, Mateo, please?
How is it to work in a hospital having a high risk of being infected by the virus?
Okay. Question 1 then. There we have protective clothing for the nurses, doctors. It did take a week because it had to come from Turkey. And there was a lot of delays, lot of arguments because the protective costume was the outfit, the PPE was not here. So people were having to improvise. That means use other stuff. But now the PPI is available now and easy to get.
What is PPI? What is that?
PPI is protective personal equipment. It's the mask, the goggles, the robe. We call it PPE.
Implements.
Okay.
Body.
Yeah. But there are nurses and there are doctors that have died from this virus. It's very sad. But it could have been a lot worse because we've had a very, very high death in England.
Yeah.
So, and I'm pushing that down to our government not acting very quickly, because like Evan, he shut down a week before us. We shut down on the 23rd of March. And it was in England well before that. I think England, you know, didn't open their eyes and their ears to see what was going on.
Yeah.
And that's and at the moment we have a different law in England to a different law in Wales and a different law in Scotland. So we must not cross their borders because we are breaking the law.
Okay. Well, it's similar in Colombia. We can move from city to city. We have to stay at home all the time. Yeah.
No, we can travel now. They have let from Monday, we can travel, but only in England. We mustn't go to Wales or we mustn't go to Scotland.
Okay.
Yeah.
Matthew, your second question, please. You have a second question, no, Matthew?
Yes. The second question is, does the government or your work provide the necessary clothing to carry out your work with the patients affected by the virus? Sorry.
I didn't quite. The sound is good. It's his accent is not very clear for me.
Well, the question is about the clothing, the equipment that you have to wear in your workplace.
In my workplace, sorry. In my workplace, we do not have to wear it all the time. Because where I work, we have had nobody with the virus. But some of our patients have to go to hospital. And when they come back from hospital, we have to put the clothing on because of transferring this infection to our house. So, and then they come to us from hospital and we have to isolate. They have to isolate for 7 days in their bedroom. So we must...
Only 7 days? Only for 7 days?
Yes, for 7 days isolate. If they was living with somebody, if they lived with somebody, it would have to be 14 days.
Okay.
But because they are on their own in their room, it is 7 days.
Because here is 14 days, 2 weeks. That they have to be isolated. Yeah.
Yeah. If it is more, if it's 2 people or more, it is 14 because you could spread it onto the others. But if you're on your own, you've got no one to pass it to. So it's just 7 days.
Okay. Thank you,
You
Linda.
understand?
Thank you, Mateo.
I hope that answered your questions.
Ni me entendió el acento, Miss. Ni me entendió.
Okay.
In English, Matthew, please. Now the next question is from Sebastián Ariza.
Hello, I'm Sebastián. My question is, has the pandemic affected the tourism in your hometown?
How was it affect? Well, we are a ghost town. There is no tourism. The beaches have been closed. Police patrol the beach. You can walk along it if there's a 2 meter distance from other people. But unfortunately, because the weather has been really nice. People have been coming to the beach and thinking they can sit there and sunbathe. They're not allowed. And there is a fine. The police will fine you on the spot, £100. There, you have a ticket. You must pay.
So,
It is not.
sorry, Linda. If you don't understand, lo que ella quiso decir es que si usted se sienta en la playa y la policía lo atrapa, tiene que pagar 100 libras. Eso es mucha plata, mucho dinero. Okay? That's if you don't understand the question. So, I think the same question is for Evan, no? Sebastián, the same question for Evan?
There's Evan.
Yes, Sebastián?
Yeah.
Well, Evan, can you please answer that question?
So it's basically the same situation here in Switzerland. So now people have always been allowed to go outside, but they couldn't go out if there were a group of more of 5 people.
Yeah.
And so they could also get, here it's 2 in England.
Yeah, we no
So-
more than 2.
Okay,
in
so in
England.
Switzerland it wasn't more than 5, and
Wow.
if these rules weren't accepted, they also could get 100 francs per person.
Fine.
So it's basically almost the same amount than in England.
Yes.
Yeah.
But so nowadays, so these days, since a week ago, people can go out always keeping the distances and always no more than 5 person. But as shops are reopened again, people are not respecting the rules. So they are going to the lake, they are going, they are hiking, and then even dangerous, they are going in the cities. So for example, me, I can work now. I'm half at the office and half at home. But the morning when I go at home, it's full of people. It's overcrowded everywhere. And so basically people must pay if they are not respecting the rules. Unfortunately.
Yes. Okay, thank you, Evan, for your answer. And now, Rafael Rodriguez. Where is Rafael Rodriguez?
My question is for Ms. Linda. How quarantine has affected the elderly mental health?
The elderly have been really, really hard hit with this because they already have underlying illnesses that makes them very weak in the first place. So it is a majority of old people that have suffered. And unfortunately, in my industry where I work with elderly people, that the nursing homes for elderly people have been hit really bad. And it has been through where the protective, the PPI has not been in, no, the PPE has not been in place for care homes. Plus agencies, that's agencies that are nurses, they have traveled from one home to another home to another home. And so that infection, that virus has spread through staff working in different places, which has not helped. Unfortunately, we've had a high amount of deaths in nursing homes. It is, but where I'm working, we have been very, very lucky. We do not take agencies where I work. We'd rather work short staff. Plus, if we have people go to hospital, they have to quarantine for 7 days in their bedroom. So they do not mix with other elderly. And the staff, we are tested to make sure that we are not carrying the virus. Plus we have, before we go into our home, we have to sanitize our hands and we have to take our clothes off before we go in the home and put uniform on. So nothing comes in and out. So it is different, but we are working at it. It's good.
Okay, thank you.
I hope that helps you out, Rafael. Is he gone?
Well, now we have Laura Naranjo. This is Laura Naranjo.
My question is, do the lowest economic sectors receive help from the government? In what way?
Could you be a bit louder?
Laura, más fuerte, mami.
Sí, señor. Do the lowest economic sectors receive help from the government? In what way?
Okay. Yes, they are. We do have a benefit system there are people that have been on benefits before this happened. So their benefits will stay the same. The benefits change when you have, your job is closed. So the government will pay you 80% of your wages. We have staff that cannot work at our place. But because our company has not closed down, they cannot get the 80% of their wages. They can only get sick pay. And it is not a lot of money. It is £94 a week. I don't know how much that is in your country.
94 pounds are like...
A week.
But for us, that's a lot of money.
Yeah. Oh, is it? Oh my gosh, in England it is very, very little money. £94 a week is not a lot of money. So that's because our company has not closed down, they can only get sick pay. But if our company closed down, they would get 80% of their wages. Am I helped?
I'm gonna tell them in Spanish.
Okay.
Chicos, es como recibir semanalmente como 300,000 pesos. El gobierno les da 300,000 pesos en la semana a los que no tienen trabajo. Evan is understanding. No, Evan, you understand what I'm saying because Evan is learning Spanish.
Okay.
Evan is learning Spanish.
That's really good, Evan.
Now
the same question for Evan.
Yes, basically it's also the same system here in Switzerland. So as I said, some companies have to stay closed now because they cannot respect the restrictions. And so in this case, the government is still paying according what the company is always giving back to the government as also as a wages. So also some companies didn't want to close, and so they have also employees, but they couldn't pay them. So the government gave 80% of their salary.
And I suppose that's a lot of money for us.
That means it was 80% of the salary of each employee.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
but Liz, you got to understand, for us too, our wages are high, but the things are expensive.
Yes, I know.
For us, they're not expensive, but for you, they are expensive.
Yeah. Yes, yeah. I know.
Yes, you know.
Well, here is my boss. I'm gonna to introduce you my boss. She is Monica Vera. That's her.
Hi.
Okay.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
I'm fine, thank you. You too?
Very well. Very, very busy and very well.
I can imagine, yes.
Well, the next question is from, wait, Stefania. Stefania, please. Your question, Stefania.
My question is for Evans. Hi, Evans. I am Steph. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I know that you work for a travel agency. So, Evans, tell me, how has the lockdown affected the travel and company for your work? And I have the second question. What do you think are the jobs or business that have been most affected by the lockdown?
Thank you for your questions. So, as you can imagine, the tourism industry has been very, very much affected. So it's one of the most affected industry here in the country, in Europe, but I think worldwide. And so that means here, for example, it's coming summer in Switzerland, and summer means plenty of festivals. Here, for example, they say that in Europe, Switzerland is one of the country that has the most festivals. Around 20 festivals have been cancelled. Some have closed because they were too small. And also in Switzerland, we have huge fairs. So for example, we have a huge cars fair that has to be postponed later on, but normally will be next year. And so that means around 200 of employees have not received their salary, and they have lost their job. So, and normally this summer, no one can travel in Switzerland. So that means the touristic companies won't really get their salary, and they won't get plenty of money. And also what is important to know for your second question, in Switzerland, there's also the watch industry that is important. And as it's a very international industry, because they have to deal with different countries, it's also difficult to get all the equipment and the necessary stuff to build, construct the watches. So it's also a big industry that is going to be in crisis the next years.
Well, Steph, something else?
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Steph.
Well, we were talking about a so difficult situation that we are living in. It's time to change. It's time to be happy. It's time to watch the presentation that I prepared for you. And there are some videos. I'm gonna show you a video from Barrancabermeja. And also Evan and Linda shared with me a video from Brighton and from Lausanne. Yeah, so we are going to watch the videos because we need to be happy. It's time to be happy.
Yes.
No
Motivation.
More, yes, no more sadness. Well, this is our school. This is our school, El Castillo. There's a picture from the school. And here we have the video from Barrancabermeja. This is a lake, it's called Sogamoso.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Very green.
And this is just the city. This is the shopping center, the mall. we only have 2 malls in our city, in our hometown, because Barrancabermeja is small. And this is the swamp next to the refinery. The oil crest that I talked to you about before, this is the oil crest and this is the oil refinery. Our stadium. We love football.
Yes, I know you do.
As Linda. As Linda in England.
Yeah.
And this is the biggest river in Colombia, the Magdalena River. Yeah?
Magdalena.
Magdalena.
That's it. Well, now we have Brighton. So there are some pictures. Linda say, hey.
My hometown. Where I live.
Linda, briefly, because we only have 3 minutes to finish.
I understand. I understand.
Can you please explain us the pictures? What are the places in the pictures and what does it mean for you?
Okay. This is in the top corner on the left is Brighton Pier. It is closed at the moment. Thank you, Liz. But it is a very popular place for tourists to go. There's cafes, restaurants, there's bars. There's a big fun fair at the end of it. Well over 100 years old. It's a very popular place. We did have 2 piers, but this is the only one that's remaining. The other one got burnt down. This is the 360 British Airways. It's constructed, I think it was about 4 years ago, and it's about £18 to go up there. It lasts an hour, and you can see the views of all of Brighton along the coast. It's beautiful. I've only seen videos of it. I've not been up there. There is something I must do.
Yeah.
And then there's I know, it's on my doorstep. It's something, well, it's always there. And then we've got the palace. Again, this was a gift to Queen Victoria. And again, that's a tourist attraction and everything. And this is the parts of the garden and the park and everything like that. So, but if you go on YouTube, there's plenty of videos of Brighton. There's videos of the 360, videos of the pier. It's very interesting.
Well, here I have the video that you shared with me, so I'm gonna send this video to my students.
Okay.
Because we don't have enough time.
No, but no, enjoy. You can see Brighton, what it's all about.
And finally, we have here Lausanne. That's
Lausanne.
Right? Lausanne. My
Okay,
God,
yes.
that's difficult.
And
the
the
pronunciation.
mountains.
Lausanne.
You can say Lausanne.
Lausanne.
Spanish.
Yes.
Well, Evan, what can you tell us about your hometown?
So Lausanne is a small city in Switzerland. It's on the shores of Geneva Lake. So it's not far from Geneva. As you may see, so there's the lake and the mountains. So just in front of Lausanne, there's the France, and so the lake makes the border between Switzerland and France. It's a very lively city. It's
1 minute.
So over there is France.
Francia. And so Lausanne is situated.
Sorry, Evan.
Yeah.
The meeting is gonna be closed, but I'm going to connect again. So for 5 or 10 minutes more because we don't have enough connectivity. So I'm
Okay.
going to meet again when the meeting finish.
Great.
Well, you can continue.
So I can continue. Yes. So the city is, I would say, surrounded by nature.